Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales ICAEW Live Lecture Series. My name is Jack. It's me again. We're going to have two lecturers today. Last week we had Mr. Simon, and the week before we had Mr. Ong. So today we're going to see two very important lecturers from our Sunway Test team, and they are Miss Ruzlena and Miss Geetha. Right. So first of all, my name is Jack, and I am the lecturer for three of the papers, BTF, Business Technology and Finance, Business Strategy and Technology, as well as Strategy Business Management. So let me show you a little bit about the subjects that we have in ICAEW. Okay, and we can see what are the lecturers actually teaching in this particular papers. So we have Miss Ruzlena, who's teaching accounting and financial accounting and reporting in the professional level, as well as corporate reporting. Whereas Miss Geetha is teaching the management information, the financial management, as well as strategic business management. So we have two very important lecturers that are teaching the whole pillar on the financial management as well as the financial accounting. So, and of course, a bit of an introduction of Miss Geetha. She has over 30 years of experience in financial management and started teaching the ICAEW program in Sunway Test in 2008, produced numerous World Prize winners, as well as 100% passes for many classes. Whereas Miss Ruzlena, okay, with over 19 years of teaching experience, all right, and started teaching the ICAEW program in 2010 and has produced a total of 9 ICAEW World Prize winners with numerous groups achieving 100% passes. So let's welcome Miss Geetha and Miss Ruzlena.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Good. Good. Yeah.
All right. So this is the first time you guys are doing this, right?
Yep.
So Miss Ruzlena was telling me that, doing this particular session is even more nerve-wracking than doing the CR paper the first time. So, but I'm sure you do naturally, right? Your students love you a lot. All right. So, sorry?
We'll just talk to each other.
Yes, let's talk to each other. We just have fun here, okay?
Yep.
Maybe Miss Geetha, maybe you can share with us your experience in Sunway Test, how you joined us, and then from how did you actually started off with ICAEW?
Yeah, I joined Sunway Test in the year 2000. I started teaching on the ACCA program, and in 2008, I believe it's 2008. When I started to teach the part-time students for ICAEW. And I, with Ruzlena, I started out in 2010 for the CFAP program. Yeah, we were the first two, I think, to teach on the CFAP. I'm not sure about Ong. But yeah, so I've been teaching MI for a few sessions only. And after 10 years, I must say, I came back to teach once this year in January, MI, at the certificate level. So it was quite nice after a long time. I haven't forgotten anything, but yes, ICAEW is, both ACCA and ICAEW, I teach now. I still teach, and they're different in many ways. And they are both are fulfilling in different ways. Yeah.
Of course. What about you, Ruzlena? Yourself, Ruzlena, what about yourself?
I guess I start at about the same time as but maybe I can go back a little bit earlier as to how Mr. Teo actually got me. So I came back from overseas with a master's, and I joined PwC, and I was a bit surprised that even with a master's, I still needed to do a professional qualification. So then I started my studying for my professional qualification together at the same time working at PwC. So it's a bit challenging, but then after that, once I graduated, I got my ACCA. Then I went on to become a financial analyst at a MNC, and at that point, I think I was already it's a
I was already quite old, I might say, and it was time to settle down. So at that point of time, Mr. Teo actually called me, my boss, and said, would you like, he actually offered me a lecturing job, and I grabbed it. And there was no turning back after that. Yeah. So I've been working since 2000, and I'm still having fun teaching my students. Yeah.
That's the best thing about our job, right? We are still having fun with doing it.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Every single semester, we get very interesting students.
Yeah.
Keep our life interesting all the time.
Very smart
Right.
students as well.
Okay. So in our previous session, right, with Mr. Ong and Mr. Simon, we mentioned that our syllabus helps our students to develop certain skills, such as assimilation of information, structuring problems and solutions, applying judgment, all right, and then from there on, making conclusions, recommendations, and on top of that, we have also developed communication skills. Perhaps you can share with us, right, through the subjects that you teach, right, from one level to the next, like from MI to FM to the SPM paper, how the students actually develop these skills. So maybe we can start with Ms. Geetha.
Yeah, so in management information, it is mostly on costing, management accounting. So they have like 4 main areas, which is costing and pricing, budgeting and forecasting, performance management, and decision making. At this level, they are just learning the techniques as in a very structured approach. I'm sure in many other papers they would have heard of the word cost, for example, but in MI they are actually going to learn what are the elements of cost. I'm just giving an example. What are the elements of cost? Instead of just using the word cost, we value it at production cost, or we value it at purchases. So we need them to understand the difference between manufacturing and trading. And it's as I said, because I taught this paper one time this year after 10 years, I realized that it has been upgraded a little bit, updated with data analytics now, which I think you also teach.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
and there's a lot of connection, because if they don't have this data, the businesses are constantly changing. But of course, at this level, they won't realize it. They're just learning it as a topic, which is something quite new to them. And then when they move on to the next level, which is financial management, I would say financial management is more pure, but it uses decision-making techniques, but it is more on investments and financing and risk management. So we don't actually learn, the knowledge that you acquire, let's say about fixed costs and variable costs, are still applied, but it's no longer a costing paper. Yeah, it's a finance paper. So they see it differently, except for maybe a couple of topics. There could be some overlaps. And when they get into the advanced stage where the SBM is, that's when everything comes together. So the information that they have acquired in MI is now coming back, and you've got so much of data there, and you need to explain, bring everything together, both from the finance as well as the strategy perspective. So yes, that is a very broad subject that they have to learn. So it's very structured at the certificate level, the paper, MI, and then it goes into a different kind of a structure with more application at financial management, and it is just application in strategic business management. Yeah. So that's how
it works, yeah. Of course, I think it also jives in very nicely with my paper, which is business strategy. Because when you are interested in designing a new strategy, it is important for the organization or the accountants to be advising the board of directors about what kind of returns and risks that the organization will have to take on. So in terms of returns, we do your NPV calculation, net present values, your payback periods, all right, and using tools like decision trees, which is all learned from the papers that you teach them so well. right? And then from there on, all right,
Yes.
of course, they do risk management, you can break-even analysis and going on margin of safety. So if an accountant were to advise the board of directors and telling them that this option or this particular decision should be made, it has to be supported by concrete figures such as, what is your return on investment? What is the net present value you're going to get, payback period when you're going to get it, and marginal safety? All those are all in the picture, very nicely integrated from your paper to my paper, and then moving up higher on. So it's all gelled together very well. And we can see in the professional level, right, there's also a little bit of integration already there. Okay, that the students are learning how to combine MIFM together with strategy, and then moving on later to SBF even more. Yeah, very structured way of learning. Okay, that's how this paper is done. So let's hear it from Ruzlena, right? And how different your paper is, and then why is it important that they need to have this? Of course, how they actually get tiered from the lower level to the higher level. Okay, from your perspective.
I don't think my paper is as interesting as yours.
No, we need your paper, very important.
But basically, mine is to kind of like tell the shareholders whatever that you guys have done, how well is it doing? Yeah, whether profitable or not. So let's talk about the three papers. In the certificate level, I teach accounting. Yeah, so that's where you guys will learn the basic stuff like double entries, how to do double entries, what are the some of the year-end adjustments, and very simple preparation of simple financial statements for several business entities like sole traders, partnerships, limited companies. Then so it's very very basic. Yeah, so a lot of the students who come in actually do have accounting knowledge, so they have no issue when it comes to this paper. But then, for those who do not have accounting knowledge, but it's still fine because we are teaching from the start. So don't worry about it. Those science, rangers. Then moving, and that is MCQs, purely MCQs, and probably just one long question. Which actually will lead them to FAR, because when it comes to the second paper, which is in the professional stage, the financial accounting and reporting focuses more on limited companies accounts, published accounts. So then they will then learn not that many, but only about 20 standards.
Not many.
And they will also learn the consolidation, how to prepare consolidated financial statements to see overall how the group performs. Yeah. So the thing is about FA, moving from the certificate level to the professional level, the students find that there's a huge jump, from MCQs, and then suddenly they are expected to just do long questions, preparing a full set of financial statements. And there's also one explain question where they are required to write the treatments, the effects, which, Malaysian, right? We're not that good at conveying our kind of thoughts. And so that's the explanation part that some of the students are having difficulty. Yeah,
but you still manage to give them 100% passes, right?
Because my students are smart. But the reason why they incorporate the explanation is because, again, then it goes on to CR, corporate reporting, in the advanced level, where all the questions require them to write. So they are exposed at the professional level of, you need to write, and then they slowly will learn the writing skills, and such that when they reach CR, then they should be able to communicate their thoughts by then. So it's at CR level that everything is integrated, and there's a lot of application. The students need to read a lot of information, organize their thoughts, put in the judgment, and then from there they come up with recommendations and conclusions. So that's at the advanced level. So it's built up slowly. But the thing about my paper is whatever they learn, like from the certificate, they need to bring it up to FAR And then whatever they learn in FAR, they need to bring it up to CR again. Yeah. So there's a lot of brought forward knowledge. So if the students just like, I just want to study and pass, that type of attitude, then they're going to have problems. Okay, a bit difficulty when it comes to moving smoothly.
I guess because if you talk about our qualification, those people who are coming in already are quite driven. So I don't think they will just want to pass, or definitely they want to become even better. So that's where I think, it helps a lot. Our job is even easier because of that. But of course, in how they are being integrated, like for example, when you have your financial statements done, all right, and then from there on, like from a strategic point of view, we need to have an understanding of what has actually happened to the organization, right? And from there on, we'll use the skills from Ms. Geetha's paper to do variance analysis to really appreciate, what's the problem of what is the problem the organization has in terms of, it could be an inventory issue, it could be a production issue, it could be a marketing issue, but it all starts with your accounts, all right? That they are able to prepare and verify that it's true and fair, and then from there on, then we compare it to the budgets and do variance analysis, and with that, we will be able to understand what actually went wrong with the organization. Okay, and financial is only one of the point of view, all right, because later they will also learn about balance scorecards, all right, looking into the non-financials, how they bring all this in, they help them make decisions. Okay, so I think, the fundamentals, of course, your paper is where they build the other skills. Okay, but they need to make sure that they know what the numbers are about. Like for example, today I did a question with the students. They are supposed to talk about franchising. Okay, and there's a franchise fee of $25,000 for 5 years. So of course, the students have forgotten that they need to amortize this figure into the calculation. So then I'll ask them, don't you remember what Ms. Ruzlena taught you? All right, amortization is needed. Okay, and I will ask them, which IFRS standard is that? So it's all very well integrated. Okay, and especially I think when we do our SBM paper, the higher levels paper, the students will even have to advise the organization. If this particular company were to merge with another company, how are we going to be reporting this in the consolidated accounts? All right, and will it be something that is of lesser value or higher value if we were to consolidate the company? Okay, and all that comes from your paper. All right, so you see, everything there is all integrated. And so we have the opportunity for them to integrate all the skills that we learn. But of course, the fundamental things, all right, when we do with MI, the accounting, the FM, okay, the FAR, all that is supposed to make our students more competent, all right, so that they are able to make objective decision making.
What they need to know as well is the businesses are constantly changing.
Yes.
So they also have to be, reading or watching some news articles.
Learning up all the new standards.
These are just, just a stepping stone, and it's going to be changing. So they've got to be prepared. So if they don't understand the basics, then it's going to be difficult for them to understand why. What is the change about?
Correct. So that's where the technical competence come in. If you tell people that something is wrong, you need to tell me why is it wrong. Okay, so, and even if you were to audit a process that is done by the data analytics, all right, whereby they are going to be using algorithms, the key here is your professional skepticism will come in and ask them, why is this algorithm written in that way? All right, in what kind of accounting standards have you actually followed to actually produce a particular algorithm? So it all goes back to the fundamentals and seeing whether is this still going to be preserving the true value of how we're going to report. So they will have to understand how everything is all linked up together. All right. So that particular skill is very key to our students' development. All right. So now let's talk about, because we have got so many students that have actually graduated, right? So let's talk about if students are taking on the path of financial accounting and financial management. All right. So what are the careers that they can actually venture into? And perhaps you can tell us about some of the careers that your students have actually gone into, right? And maybe some examples of some of our alumni. Okay, maybe Ruzlena, you want to start? If you go into that route, maybe let's say the students are in love with your paper, okay? What kind of career that can actually go into?
I guess with this financial accounting, they can also be an auditor, right? Yeah, and I've got a few students that, not ex-students, that they are now currently residing in UK, and they're attached with the Big Five. So they're doing very, very well. There's a few, I mean, several of them that's in Singapore. And then I've got people, I've got students who actually chose not to do audit, but to do the corporate. Yeah, so they're in some companies doing the financial accounting part, but they've reached at a position where they're not into like bookkeeping or things like that, but rather to think of strategies of how to improve the company. Yeah, so it's more on business decisions, making business decisions, and when they do that, they would have to also think about what is the impact on, based on the standards, what effect will it have on the financial statements. Yeah, so it's very relevant now, I would say, for their job scope, that they need very good IFRS knowledge.
All right.
So with all these three papers, they should already have pretty much quite good knowledge. It's just that, like what Geetha said, it's always changing the environment. So there's going to be new standards coming in, and they would have to learn it up. Yeah, somehow.
Constantly learning.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So what about you, Miss Geetha? Any of your students have actually ventured into different path that, not in the audit or accounting?
I mean, the ones who don't like to do auditing or tax, those kind of subjects. I mean, they don't want to venture into those areas. They have gone straight into a finance related, like, they go and work in the investment bank, or
Okay.
they will pursue some more qualifications like CFA, for instance.
Mhm.
And I think they will go into, those related areas like private equity. And generally, I think when they reach a certain position, they are in a position to actually like advise people what to do.
Mhm.
Financial analysts, or a credit analyst if they're working in a bank, for instance. So that's one category of students who do that. Means outrightly they will not go into audit or accounting. There's another one, another type who will do the mandatory auditing
Okay.
that they need for their qualification to get their fellowship and all that. And after that, they venture into businesses. So we have students who are like not even they're accountants, but they are doing very different things now. Yeah. So that's because I think accounting helps them to understand how to run the business and the problems that they're going to face. Yeah. So yeah, I've got two categories of students who've done that.
I think it's very important that if you want to run a business, it's so important that they understand where the cash comes from and how do you keep track of it and being accountable to it. And of course, how to grow your cash. And both your papers are basically the foundations of how, this is being managed. So it's not just only about preparing the accounts, but you also need to know how to manage the money, all right? Not just only from a paper basis, but also on the cash basis. Decision making, like how to cost your products, how you price your products, all that is all part and parcel of the things that they learn within your papers.
Strategy,
right? So,
your strategy, right?
Yes, that's right. Strategy, definitely.
Yeah.
So if you want to strategize something, you have to first of all understand, what's your current positioning, and your current positioning will all be told by the accounts that they learn from Ms. Ruzlena's papers. And then from there on, we also have to see how is it going to compare to the budgets and how are we going to be performing and forecast for the future. And that's where we learn from Ms. Geetha's classes. And with that, how do you fund the business? What kind of investment appraisals that we need to go through? Okay, and how do we actually go ahead with a particular decision of planning your organization's strategies? It's all about integrating all the skills. Okay, I always think that we have historical analysis, which is Ms. Ruzlena's paper, but also you need to also plan forward, which is Ms. Geetha's paper. So with this, a combination of the past, you learn from it, and then the future, you will know how to move forward better, so that we have better numbers to show, all right, to our shareholders in the future. So this is what we do constantly on a yearly basis, right? And both these papers are so important. Okay, so very interesting to know the in-depth of how the papers actually work. And of course, one more very important question, since the two of you have produced so many world prizes and 100% passes, do you have any study tips for your students who want to be a successful chartered accountants?
Work hard.
Yeah.
They have to work
Right.
hard. There's no shortcuts.
Right.
There's no
Yes,
shortcuts.
yes.
We are all the same. I mean, that's what we will tell them, right?
Yep, it's the fundamentals that need to get them right. Okay,
Yeah.
the principles are the key. What do we teach them in the Ruzlena's paper? The fundamentals, the ethical fundamentals, right? In the first, what's the accounting principles? The consistency, the prudence. That's the fundamental things that they learn first. Do they even know that? And then with that, the values that they bring with it as the key. What about any advice from Miss Ruzlena?
Today, my student was asking me, what's the key to passing the FER? I said, come and listen to my talk tonight. I normally tell them at the start, but somehow this round I didn't tell them. But I guess everyone should know. But anyway, I've come up with a mnemonics, champs. Since they are smart, they should be champs. So C is what do you call it? It's consistent. Okay, do study consistently. Don't do last minute. H is homework. Okay, whenever your lecturer gives you homework, please do it. Yes, it's a must. To do homework, because that's how you gain your practice. And then A, attend classes. Very important. Attend every class, and especially revision, because that's where we would focus the more important areas that's coming out in exams. Then mnemonics. Okay, I do use mnemonics in class, my maps, so that they can remember better. And I was quite pleased during my CR class recently that when I asked them what are the criteria, and then they can actually repeat back using the mnemonics that they've learned from me at the FER level, and that's 3 years ago. So mnemonics, and then P, practice makes perfect, obviously. So I actually talked to one of my very early world prize. I asked her, obviously the secret must be you have to ask from the actual world prizes. World prize winners. So she said that, she actually did the question bank 3 times. So guys, if you want to get a world prize, then you have to do the question bank 3 times. Practice lah. And finally, software skills is really a must. You must practice using the Surpass software, which is what you're going to use in exam, and that should be what you need to pass.
All right, let me repeat again. Consistency, homework, attend classes, hopefully more face-to-face, right?
Yes.
And of course, using mnemonics, all right, and practice makes perfect, all right, and of course, you practice it on the Surpass, because that's where they're going to be using it. Okay, so if you are taking an exam on Surpass, you have to practice on Surpass. That's exactly what I told my students. Okay, so that's good, very good advice. Okay, great. So maybe we could get some questions from the floor and see, if they have any questions. Yep. Young Jin, hi.
Hi, Young Jin. So that's probably directed to me, huh? I would say it's a huge jump again from FAR to CR. CR is an integrated paper, so it has both financial reporting as well as audit element. So you must know both in order to do well in CR. And I guess again it's practice. You just have to do the questions in the QB, the past year questions, and get used to how the exam questions are being structured and answered. Yeah. And I'm sure you can do it lah. Just
so Goyanjin, you have to consistently do homework and attend classes, all right, and listen to Miss Ruzlena's mnemonics and keep practicing the past year questions. And that's the way that you can pass the paper. And you apply the same techniques. Apply the same techniques on SBM, and when you go off the case study, same thing. Correct, Miss Geetha?
All papers, yeah.
All papers is the same thing.
So we can use that now, yeah? Students,
Yes.
you guys have chance.
That's good. Any other questions, people?
Okay, I hope you answered your question, Yongjin. Practice more past year question.
Yep. So perhaps while we wait for the next question, right, Miss Ruzlena, do you have any like personal motto that you want to share with your students?
I guess my personal motto is always strive to be your best lah. Do your best. Yeah. So don't stop, even though I've been teaching so many years, but I will always still try to see where I can fine tune, make improvement to my notes, incorporate more questions. And yeah, so I guess everybody, should have this type of attitude so that you will do great in whatever that you do.
Okay. Miss Geetha?
I'm a bit, a bit OCD like. So whatever I try to do, I try to do it near perfect. And I think everyone should try to do something like that. I mean, we always say the Japanese are always very, prim and proper. They get everything right. And then they've come up with so many techniques like get it right the first time. There's no waste. And we can do it. We just have to spend some time just thinking, planning how to do it, and not do a slipshod way of work. So if we do something like that properly, we don't have to come back to it and rectify our problems, right?
Yeah.
True. Right the first time.
You always have to try to do your stuff, whatever it is. Even if you don't like that job, it could be a short stint, but do it properly. And then you move on so that you don't have to come back and nobody is going to have, nobody's going to have a bad feeling about you. Right?
Correct. Yes.
That's
I believe that, understanding, what is your personal branding that you want to let people know. Because, by being able to constantly learn and constantly improve yourself, right, and to be, ensuring that whatever that you do, like what Ms. Geetha say here, is that you need to ensure that you show the best to people. And that's your very important personal branding. That's a very important thing, okay? Because, what is left of you after all your riches is basically only your name. All right. So who do you remember? Who do you remember Miss Geetha as? Who do you remember Miss Ruzlena as? All right. What kind of branding would you want to be? Okay. Yeah, and Jack. All right. So what kind of legacy that you want to leave? Okay. Is it a good one or is it a bad one? All right. That's very important. That's your own personal brand. Okay. So I guess that's it for tonight because no more questions coming in. Okay. I think that's all for today. All right.
Nice
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a good session. All right.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you again. Bye. See you, students in college. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye.